Hi Jackson, I understand that you are an epiphenomenalist, so can you explain to me what else there is to know besides physical information? Well, there are a lot of things in the world that cannot be explained by physical states. I will refer to these things as qualia. For example, nothing you could tell of a physical sort captures the smell of a rose. No matter how many physical definitions and characteristics you give me, I will never be able to understand the smell of a rose until I have that experience. I don't understand. Could you give me an example? Of course. Take my friend Fred for example. Fred was born with an incredible ability that the rest of us do not have. That is, he can see an extra color. I first discovered this when I asked him to separate ripe tomatoes into two separate groups. I noticed after asking him to do this task a second time that he was consistent in separating the tomatoes into identical groups. When I asked him how he did this, he told me that there were two different colors. But how can this be? All ripe tomatoes are red. Precisely. Although all the tomatoes would look the same for you and me, Fred saw the tomatoes as two completely different colors. Upon further investigation, I learned that Fred could see colors, red 1 and red 2. And these two colors look as different to him as yellow and blue do to me and you. Okay, but what does this have to do with your argument? Well, no matter how much information you obtain about what physical transactions that occur in Fred's brain when he sees these two colors, you will never actually know the experience he has of seeing red 1 and red 2. Hence, physicalism is incomplete and there is information that is left out. I do not want to accept this proof because I have never met anyone with such a special skill. Okay, then listen to this story about my other friend Mary. Mary is a scientist who has lived in a black and white room viewing the world through a black and white television for her whole life. She has spent her life studying all the physical information there is about what happens when people see colors, like wavelengths and the optical system. So, you tell me, what will happen when Mary is released from her black and white room? Will she learn anything new? Well, yes. She will see new colors she hasn't seen before. Exactly. Therefore, even though she had all the physical information, there's more to know than just that, and physicalism is false. I understand what you are saying, but I have a few objections. Please, go on. What is the causal role of qualia? Are you implying that mental states cause physical states? For example, feeling pain causes a change in the demeanor of your face. I am not implying that mental states cause physical states. For example, it may seem obvious that event A causes event B if event B occurs directly after event A every time. However, you are forgetting that there could be a third factor, event C, that is causing both A and B at the same time. Therefore, it is simply a consequence of physical states in the brain. Okay, I will accept your explanation. But here is another question for you. If qualia does exist, then we can assume that it occurred through evolution. However, the process of natural selection selects characteristics that are conducive to survival. But using your definition of qualia, qualia has no effect on the physical world. So, why has qualia evolved? To answer your question, I will use the example of polar bears. Polar bears have evolved to have warm, heavy coats to survive in freezing temperatures. However, these warm coats are also extremely heavy and can slow the polar bear down. This trait is obviously not conducive to survival. Therefore, through the process of evolution, byproducts have occurred which are not conducive to survival. So you are saying that qualia is one of those byproducts? Yes, I am. Qualia is a byproduct of some brain process that is conducive to survival. Thank you, Jackson, for explaining your knowledge argument for Qualia to me. Anytime.